Hey y'all, how's it going today? Saturday, April 15th, 2022. So, as you can see, I've done a lot of garden work and I have saved you from the monotonous hours of me filming the garden work, just to do the garden work. So there's, let me get you oriented in the way you think. Okay, so basically, here's where I put down the first part of the concrete walk, the patio walk. And so you can see I put that down, and then I've taken the time out of putting down patio stone to put in the forms for the raised garden beds. So I did that one first, the far one first. And I took my time about doing that. And then I started on this one, which is great, but to kind of mitigate any OCD I had about this one, I took several days to do it because it seemed like an impossible task. So, and we all know how to conquer impossible tasks. Conquering impossible tasks is that you take it a little bite at a time. So I took several days to put this in. Yes, it was a pain in the ass. So I turned over the garden beds first. Then after I turned over the garden beds, I started heaping, and you can see that there's still plant matter, green plant matter that I have to pick out and whatnot. So I'm a little bit more advanced in the far one. So let's go to the far one and do that for a little bit. So this is my evolution process. So I dug out where the sides would go. I tried to get it as even as possible. I tried to get these in a line so that, like, when it was all done, that I didn't have to that I wasn't going OCD. I'm not an OCD person, but if they're not lined up just roughly, I will be kicking myself, because this is kind of permanent that I'm putting it in. So yes, so I did that. I dug all that out. I heaped all that up so I could put the forms in. So, and I had done that for this one too. So now I have the forms in. I have spent a lot of time turning over the soil. And I understand that people say no dig garden is best, but I don't have one of those gardens. I have been pulling out root after root, and if you can see, I don't know if you can see from here, but I'm still pulling out roots and whatnot. There's not a lot of greenery at this point, and I've pulled out clumps of roots, and now it's the stragglers that are there. And the advantage for a dig garden as opposed to a no dig garden is that they have, as you're turning over the soil, you can see what the soil is composed of, that you can take a look at and see what's going on. So I have dug out, there's a lot of nice worms in the garden that are good for the garden. There are also some small evolving bugs that are not meant for the garden. They will eat your roots of your nice plants, and so basically your plants will come up and all of a sudden they'll die. They'll die, and you won't understand why they'll die because you haven't turned over your garden. So I've been getting, as I encounter them, I smush them up and I throw them. I throw the parts after I smush them. So I've been doing that. So this is about ready. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the rake and finally rake out, hopefully, another layer of the roots and whatnot. So, and then after I get everything done, I have a compost pile. Let me go over here. I'm sorry about my neighbor's mess. Let me turn around here. So I have a compost pile. Well, I have several compost piles. So this is one compost pile. These are my nectarine plants. I need to clean up. I need to do a little bit more trimming, let's just say. But I've taken my compost pile. I've taken the stuff that's not all the way composted yet, and I've pulled it to the side. And what I'm doing is I'm getting the nice rich ground underneath, and I'm putting it in the wheelbarrow. And that's what I'm going to finish filling up my compost beds, my beds with. I'm doing it this way because, bug. I'm doing it that way because the problem I had at one point was I bought 3 yards of loam, and I told the guy 4 times, it was for my vegetable garden, it's for my vegetable garden, it's for my vegetable garden. And there can't be any plastic in there, there can't be any crap in there. And he said, oh, of course. And he delivered it, and I started to put it in the garden beds. And not only was there plastic, he had ground up, I guess there's a grinder they put all of the loam through to have it a certain consistency. There was ground up plastic all inside those, and it was a pain. I'm still plucking out bits of, and it's not just the plastic bag plastic. The plastic bag plastic is hard enough, but when you come up with little bits of things that used to be toys or stuff that, somebody had, obviously hidden them in a compost bag, and then they piled it up until it all composted, and then they put it through their it was all plastic. So I'm not one to eat plastic. It is it is bad for you, plastic. But that's how you get plastic in your food and then in your system, is that you can't get away from it. So that's what I have been doing, is mowing the lawn and doing the leaves, and then putting the leaves in a corner so it all composts. And so I'm using that compost now for these 2 garden beds here. I'll probably fill up here as well, and then I'll put the black cow manure on each of the beds. And so I have dirt, I have compost, and I have manure. And once I do that, hopefully the next stage after that, even before I plant, after that is going to be putting the plastic, I'm talking about plastic, putting the weed barrier over, and I'll poke holes in the weed barrier and then plant. So you'll still get weeds on that, but I'm kind of hoping, because weeds are the bane of my existence doing gardening. Okay, all right, I'm getting eaten by mosquitoes, so I'm gonna take a break. So I hope this finds you well. All right, take care, bye.